create photorealistic visualizations from simple scenes in SketchUp and other 3D programs, using a new artificial intelligence model from Google that renders faster than you can even get into V-Ray's settings. I'm talking about Nano Banana Pro, a model that perfectly understands geometry, light, and materials. It doesn't change your designs and allows you to make corrections and even enhance old visualizations. In this video, I'll show you the complete workflow, from preparing 3D models, through my proven tricks, all the way to the final result that will land in your portfolio. All right, let's start from the beginning. Take a look at this bedroom. Working with a traditional rendering engine, you'd have to mess with advanced velour materials, add displacement to the wooden floor, set up sunlight, artificial lights, and rendering parameters. That's a lot of work, right? But here, you just upload the scene directly from the 3D software. You add a simple text prompt, and in just a few moments, you have a soft, cozy interior without all that extra work and complicated settings. And if you're thinking this is too good to be true, then follow me through the entire process, step by step. You can even use one of your own models. Here's what my bedroom looks like. I'll start by setting up the scene. I set the camera height and straighten the Z-axis to make it look professional. Great. It's very important to enable the material display. This is how Nano Banana will distinguish plaster from wallpaper and wood from velour. They don't have to be perfect at all, they just need to give a suggestion to the model. Avoid clay render style models, which are renders where all surfaces have the same light color. If I were to use an exterior visualization like this and describe it as a concrete facade with wooden accents and greenery around it, then as you'd expect, the result would be quite random. That's why it's better to upload scenes with textures. Next up, the edges. If you leave thick black lines on the stucco, the AI will turn them into dark moldings. On the other hand, if you turn them off, you'll lose the detail. So, what should you do? I have a little trick for that. In SketchUp's styles, under the Edge Settings tab, select the Color by Material option. This will make the lines the same color as the geometry. You'll still be able to see them, but the artificial intelligence will interpret them correctly. Also, remember to turn off the profiles. Also hide any unnecessary helper elements, axes, guides, and dashed lines. And since we're on the topic of styles, there's one more very important feature. Ambient Occlusion, introduced in SketchUp 2025. You'll find it in the face settings. It's the shading in the corners and in places where the planes meet at the sharpest angle. The distance and intensity parameters help the AI understand the spatial relationships in the scene. All right, we've got it. I'm exporting the view through File, Export, 2D Graphic. It can be in JPEG format, but remember to set a higher resolution, at least 1440 pixels on the shorter side. A file prepared this way is a great start in the Gemini interface, so I'm going to gemini.google.com. I'm attaching the exported scene in JPEG format and typing a simple text instruction, which is a prompt. More on that in a moment. Let's start as simply as possible. By just writing, turn this view from SketchUp into a photorealistic visualization. The model understands Polish and in fact probably all the languages in the world. Before I click the start icon, I'll just select the thinking model, that's important. And now I'll wait a moment. In the meantime, Nano Banana Pro is interpreting the image, trying to understand my intentions. When it's ready, it returns the result in the form of a photorealistic visualization. Insane. If you work in Picon Planner, CAD Deco, or any other 3D software, you can still do this. It's just a matter of the image and the prompt. Give it a try. Okay, time for some downsides. In the free version, you have a limit of 3 generations per day in thinking mode, that is, using Nano Banana Pro. Anything beyond that will use the basic, fast version of Nano Banana. That one is not suitable for turning scenes into photorealistic visualizations. Plus, there's a lower resolution, a watermark, and no control over the frame's aspect ratio. That's why we, the professionals, do everything in the Google AI Studio interface at aistudio.google.com. It's the same Nano Banana Pro model, but on steroids with no daily limits, in resolutions up to 4K, and with full control over the process. If you don't yet know how to use it for free by grabbing the $300 bonus from Google, watch the previous video and save $100 a month. In this video, we'll be working exclusively in AI Studio. The bedroom is impressive, but what about something more complicated? This loft has a lot of depth, several developing planes, a view outside the window, an unusual ceiling, multiple light sources, and overlapping arrangement elements. Despite all that, the same rules apply as with the bedroom. Materials, edges, ambient occlusion, and the right resolution. I'm exporting the view and uploading it to the new interface. There's still the prompt. It's best to write it in English. It's the language this model was trained on. This way, you'll get the best results. But forget about the secret formulas of Instagram gurus or multi-level instructions in JSON format that are supposed to magically transform your scene. Don't fall for it. The rule is simple. Clearly describe your goal and generally specify what's in the image. For example, a loft open living space. Mark the elements that should remain unchanged and indicate what you expect. Finally, add a few phrases that are clearly associated with visualizations like photo-based rendering or global illumination to guide the model to the right way of thinking. However, you don't have to write, "Here is a sofa, and that wall over there is brick." After all, you can see that in the image. If you're worried about an important fragment like a concrete vaulted ceiling which is not easy to interpret correctly, you can add a brief mention of it but focus on the basics. Before clicking Run, also set the image format. In my case, 3:2, and the resolution, as I mentioned, even 4K. Now I'm moving on to the generation. The process is similar to the one you know from Gemini. The model analyzes the image, the prompt, and the settings, and then gives a result. So what do you think of it? It's a difficult interior, but everything matches here. What's more, even after changing the scene, the model maintains consistency. This way you can create an entire series of visualizations in high resolution without a watermark. You can also make corrections to them. Are you planning to change the daylight to evening light? I don't even want to think about how much work that would be in V-Ray. And here I just type in the prompt and boom. The prompt doesn't have to be complicated, but being too simple isn't that good either. Take a look at this visualization. This is the work of my student Tatiana, who has just started learning V-Ray. It's correct, but it lacks life. If I write a short, "Make it look cool," I won't necessarily get a good result, and certainly not the one I'd want. In English, cool is a term for a cold temperature, a typical interpretation error. But when I clearly describe the situation, indicate the prompt's goal, and emphasize what I expect from the materials and lighting, that's a different story. Maybe it's a good time to refresh your portfolio, huh? Okay, so it's not all rosy. There are also some snags. Snags? Mirrors. SketchUp doesn't show reflections in the viewport, so how is the AI supposed to know what's on the other side? It just guesses. With better or worse results, in this bathroom it did a pretty neat job. But what if instead of an empty wall with a panel, a shower was supposed to be reflected here? You can add mirror reflecting the shower, or add a reference image with a view of the opposite wall so that Nano Banana Pro can rely on it and connect the dots instead of hallucinating. This requires a bit more work, but basically it's also doable. In exactly the same way, you can change furniture to any products from the manufacturer's website, night lamps, wall finishes, or silhouettes of people in your interiors. I explore this and many other topics in my full-length course on AI visualizations and video on the CG Wisdom platform. There I show you how to write text prompts, how I work on a daily basis, and what tools I actually use in my work as a designer. I'm leaving a link in the description. All right. Does this mean the end of rendering as we know it? Without a doubt, you can see what it looks like and how much time you can save this way. Nano Banana Pro is a game changer, giving you a freedom we could only dream of a year ago. Of course, it's still just a sophisticated tool that supports you, not replaces you. Sometimes it will mess up your visualization, but that's precisely why your role as a designer, a creative director, is now more important than ever. You're here to direct the AI, not to fight it. If you want to know how to do this professionally, I invite you to join the course. Also, check out the other videos about Nano Banana on this channel. In the meantime, thank you for watching until the end, and I'll see you in the next video.